Hi friends, I'm coming to you outside because Loki told me to. I have Loki's Jingle Bells with me. I brought out some coffee. I brought out my tarot cards because I was just messing with my tarot cards, and I keep getting this card. I wasn't sure if I was going to show this, but I keep getting the crone. And I feel like I need to talk about this. This may end up being in a couple of parts because I haven't sorted out my feelings on this yet, or my thoughts or whatever. But I want to ruminate on it because it's bothering me and I don't really know how to, So basically what I want to talk about is kind of the concept of like being a good person, being a kind person, and why that feels so weird for me to identify with now. Because for the longest time, I think I was finding my value in that, like putting all of my self-value and like, I am a good person, I'm a good like member of society or whatever, and I'm deserving of all these good things because I am kind, because I am giving, because I have a lot of love in my heart, and even if I'm struggling, like I am there for the people who love me or who I love or whatever. And even when I started trying to break out of that a little bit and being like, well, I'm allowed to be selfish. I'm allowed to put myself first. I'm allowed to say no. I'm allowed to set boundaries. I still was like, but deep down, I am a good person. Like I am a kind person. I am a good friend, etc., etc., etc. And I think that these things are true, but I am just struggling so much with it because it's hard for me to put into words why. And I think that's why I want to talk about it, because I can't figure out exactly where this is coming from. And I know part of it is just because, like I said, I based my self-worth on this for so long, that it was kind of like if I was being selfish or if I wasn't going out of my way to help people who maybe didn't even deserve it in the first place, I felt like a bad person. But that also feels like I'm just barely skimming the surface of it. That doesn't feel like the whole reason. It feels like there's something fundamentally wrong with it for me, but also like, shouldn't I want to be a good person? Like, this isn't to say that I don't love and care about like my friends and that I wouldn't, go out of my way to love and help them. But so this is kind of coming from, again, I've been thinking about this for a little while, but I got my cards read the other day. Hi little birdie, just hopped up on the fig tree to look at me. But when I had my cards read, I kept hearing that like I, am too giving, or like I need to stop closing myself off and allow myself to love and be open and giving to other people. And for some reason that kind of felt like an attack, because it kind of felt like, no, I do that, but I'm trying not to. So I think I'm going to have to make another video on this because I'm not done talking. Hi friends, I'm just continuing my talk about the struggle with being labeled as a kind person, or like not being able to hold that label. So if you want to go watch part 1, feel free. If you only vibe with this one, also cool. So I think a lot of my issue, I'm struggling to say what I want to say. A lot of my issue, I think, comes from the dichotomy, right? Like, I can be a kind person and then set boundaries, and it's like, okay, I set these boundaries, but I'm still a kind person until you cross the boundaries. Or I can be the other way around. I can be mean, but I'll be kind if you like, prove yourself worthy to be in my life. But it seems like the goal is to always work toward still being kind. And I understand that that's important, but for some reason, when I got my readings done the other day, it popped up again. They were like, yeah, you are a kind person. It's okay to, be, standoffish at first and like make sure that they prove themselves to be worthy of your kindness. But then you still should like lean into the kindness. And I'm a little bit struggling with that because for some reason, and that is a totally fine sentiment, and that is like a good way to live your life, I think. I do genuinely think it's good and important to be like kind in whatever ways you can to the people who are close to you. But for some reason, being told that and being called a kind person felt like an attack, and I'm trying to figure out where that's coming from. Now, when I say that, I did grow up in North Carolina, in Bible thumping Baptist bullshit country. So part of it is probably that I was, raised to be like, I'm a woman, I must be nurturing and maternal and kind and sweet and sit down and shut up and, cook in the kitchen for other people who maybe don't even deserve it. So I realize that I'm probably rebelling against that, but I don't know if there was a white butterfly. Sorry, every time Loki sends me outside to talk about something, I see signs and I'm getting emotional. I don't know. And I was trying to articulate this that night, and I was struggling to do it that night as well. But for me, it kind of feels like either I'm kind and I have value, or I'm mean and I need to work on getting back to my kind side. Because to be fair, I don't like it when I'm mean. It is not fun for me or anybody else. But for some reason, like, I cannot seem to find a middle ground. And I don't know if it's me or if it's the words that people use or if it's a whole bunch of things lumped in together, but it feels like if I am kind, even if, and especially if I'm struggling to like set my boundaries and whatever, then I have value. But if it's the other way around, then I'm shutting people out. And I don't know how else to... Maybe I'll try and talk about this more in the future, but if anybody else has any thoughts or can relate, please let me know, because